creepy TikToks that will make you rethink reality. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Sure how much anybody understands about the moon, or if they know that it's an unnatural satellite, that it's not a moon like in the same way other planets have moons. It was placed there, and it is a soul harvesting unit. It's used to at the point of death, so they say walk to the light. If I was you, I would take the other direction. But so then when you go there, there is highly advanced technology there, which then harvests the energy from the soul and the trauma and the sadness of the death of a loved one. It then takes that, wipes the memory from the person, and then at the point that it's necessary, recycles the body or the soul back into another body on Earth again. So it's a continual loop. That's what the Ouroboros is. That's the snake swallowing its own tail. It's an infinite. So essentially, human beings on this planet have got caught in a time loop, and there is once again an opening to leave. We had an opening to leave when 13,000 years ago.
He's talking about ancient dark entities, parasitic, that create conflict, harvest it, and put you back in the loop. Faith in the Christ is the only way to avoid it, folks.
Till the time of his death in 1938, John D. Rockefeller awoke in a cold sweat for fear that he would lose his vast fortune. He inculcated this fear in other members of his family. John D.'s daughter, Bessie Strong, ended her life, according to the family biographer William Manchester, with the pitiful fear that she would die penniless. Winifred Rockefeller Emeny, John D.'s grandniece, murdered her 2 children and committed suicide because of a fear of poverty.
That's crazy.
Another niece, Gladys, at age 21, was hospitalized for her mental condition. After each meal, she would save every crust of bread and every scrap of meat, for fear that she could not afford another meal. Mary Clark Rockefeller, Nelson's first wife, said that her husband, despite his income of $1 million a minute, was even more penny-pinching and penurious than his grandfather. Mrs. Rockefeller further testified that Nelson spied on the domestic help to make sure that they did not eat too much food.
And people think the Rockefeller had the best intentions as philanthropists.
Puff ain't getting touched. Don't you understand that? Puff is not going to jail. Puff is not going to jail. We recorded all these. It was from every big top masters and everything, Puff. I'm sorry. Bro, we got the masters on everybody that he ever dealt with. Ever dealt with. And we got the masters. Don't nobody want to play with that. Okay? So let's go back. If I own the masters to everybody, right? If I have the masters to everybody, am I Bill Cosby? Oh, they damn sure coming, ain't they? Oh, that's what they doing. They coming. They coming like a motherfucker. They coming like, but everything's on tape. Everything's on tape. That's why I love Puff so much, because everything is on tape. He ain't going to jail. You mean? You want this deal? Take that.
He might not go to jail, but he's sure going to hell. God knows all he does. And he better pray that someone won't come to off him.
Get sick because you're getting older. You don't get sick because you have a bad gene. You get sick because your body has lost the nutrients it needs to stay healthy, period. Linus Pauling said, you can trace the genesis of every disease to mineral deficiencies, period. You run out of calcium and magnesium, you get high blood pressure, you get low back pain, you get an arthritic problem. You run out of copper, you get hemorrhoids, varicose veins, or aortic aneurysms. You run out of vanadium and chromium, you get blood sugar abnormalities, type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, syndrome X, insulin resistance syndrome, whatever you want to call it. You run out of multiple nutrients, you develop uncontrolled food cravings and become obese. This is not your grandfather's Geritol. This is science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition, and interestingly enough, we offer it up for the masses. You need to educate yourself, ladies and gentlemen, about what you can do right now to support your body's built-in God-given ability to fix itself, because your medical doctor does not believe in that supposition.
It's not just about being deficient, it's about not being able to absorb the nutrients and minerals. Because your intestinal tract is coated with yeast, fungus, and mucus, and parasites are absorbing the nutrients and minerals, and then they excrete their own toxin into your system, causing autoimmune disease and cancers.
Again, humans didn't come from monkeys.
Check this video out with me and stick around to the end. Have you ever asked the question, if it took apes 7 million years to evolve into humans, we should have found millions of ancient human remains up until this point, but we have yet to find any of them, only since the last 10,000 years. Let's go ahead and play it.
Population size over time, going all the way back to, they believe way before the Bible says the world was created. But essentially, there's about 1 million people alive across the world for tens of thousands of years, and all of a sudden, somebody invents farming. And that means that extra population can be handled because there's more food, and all of a sudden, the population does that, and we have 7 billion people today. And how come the people with the same genes back here, who were just as smart as people here, they didn't think of planting something in the ground and harvesting it the next year? This is really magic back here.
Right.
Taking that thought, I applied that to a biblical idea where this is the flood, this is today. And starting from those 6 people, all you have to do is double the number of people every 156 years. And you arrive at 7 billion people after 4,500 years. Just about any model that has any growth at all, you can get this many people in those many years. So the human population size actually is a biblical human population size. If evolution was true and we existed for so many thousands of years before that, there should be trillions of people. Not that it's possible.
Yeah.
Or someone should have invented farming earlier than that. Or another way to ask it is this. If 1 million people live for about 1 million years, where are the trillions of bodies?
That's a really good question.
They don't exist.
There's no bones down there.
Yeah, there are some ancient bones we found, great, but those are post-flood people.
Right.
There should be millions upon millions of cemeteries, old villages, and remains of people, and we don't find them. I believe it's because they didn't exist.
Those that believe we evolved from apes should show us apes that have evolved all these years, because evolution should continue and not have stopped when the first ape evolved.
All right. Your body knows how to repair everything. If your bones are weak, your body knows how to regrow them. If your muscles are wasting away, joints are breaking down, your internal organs are falling apart, you got things going wrong with you, there's no incurable disease. There is a point of no return, there's permanent damage, but if you get to anything wrong with a system going in here, if you get to it in time, do the right things, your body can repair it. So I'm going to explain it, and this is all you need for your body to repair itself. Ready? Get this. A surplus of energy in a hydrated alkaline environment. A surplus of energy in a hydrated alkaline environment, and your body will repair everything.
So exercise, drinking plenty of water, then cut out sugar, alcohol, and processed food. Anything else, folks?
This former child star exposes the truth about Disney and Hollywood.
Dark world we're in, I've noticed a pattern in what is being represented. People think that this stuff is just a game. There is a reason why you see people dressed up as Satan. Not just, like Satan slipping himself in a little bit. No, full on visuals of Satan, people dressed as Satan, dressed as a demon, got upside down crosses all on their clothes or pentagrams on their clothes. And people are just like, oh, that's funny. It's, we're making fun. No, there's a reason why the entertainment industry is doing that, y'all. They know good and doggone well that God exists. They also know that Satan exists. They're just counting on the fact that y'all don't know that. But either way, the things that you take in, that they're feeding you, those things affect you. Whether you realize it in the moment or not, they affect you. That's why they do it. Entertainment industry, it's about influence. I'm not going to sacrifice the honesty in order to be politically.
By the way, this video is scripted and for entertainment purposes only. Stay weird.
People are quick to admit they believe in the devil, Satan, but don't want to believe that God exists.
In Washington, D.C., there are 23 major zodiacs in that city, more than any other city in the world. One other thing you're going to love, I don't think it's not on this map. In the earliest plat of Washington, D.C., all the lots are numbered, except one. You get up to 665, and then it jumps to 667, 668. So what's missing? 666, 666. And guess what sits on that lot today? The capital of the United States. Now, it's accepted by historians that the French Revolution was fomented by the Illuminati. George Washington, big Masonic. So they're passing along the ancient mysteries through Freemasonry. By the way, if you think that the Illuminati is just something you can laugh at and just some kind of boogaboo, here's a letter in 1782 from George Washington where he said, "It was not my intention to doubt that the doctrines of the Illuminati had not spread to the United States. On the contrary, no one is more fully satisfied of that fact than I am." These guys knew more about what was going on than we do today with all our modern technology and all our electronic communications.
The Vatican runs the Bank of England, and the Bank of England runs Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C. is its own sovereign state, which you have your politicians making laws not on U.S. land.
This dude was smoking. He was in the cabin with his buddy, and he hit this weed, and he just fell out. Boom, hit the floor. And when he woke up, he was completely soaking wet and inside of a boat. And these people were like, "Bro, you okay? You good? Like, you almost drowned. Are you good?" And he's like, "Who the f*** are y'all? I don't know who the f*** y'all are." You know what I'm saying? Right. And he was like, "Bro, what are you talking about? I'm your best friend. This is your wife, all this and that." He was like, "Bro, I don't know who the f*** y'all are, like, at all." And then, 2 years passed, 3 years passed, and he's like, "I still don't know who the f*** y'all are. Like, I'm sorry." And 5 years passed, 6 years passed, and he's like, "I don't know. I guess this is reality. I guess I was tripping maybe." And then 8 years passed, and one day he's just sitting there and he falls out. And when he falls out, he wakes up, and he wakes up in that cabin. And his homeboy was like, "Bro, are you good? You were out for like 5 seconds. Lived a whole 8-year span in 5 seconds.
Sounds like a good idea for a movie.
Manipulating the weather like crazy. And one of the ways they do it is this operation in Alaska called HAARP, which fires high power radio waves from into the ionosphere and has weather effects. Now, we've had these extremes of weather, floods, droughts. When we have these extremes of weather, they say it's because the jet stream has moved from where it normally is. This guy, Bernard Eastland, who wrote many of the patents for the HAARP project, said that HAARP can steer the jet stream. And this is what Dr. Richard Day said in 1969. The weather will be modified and used as a weapon of war to create drought or famine. And what is happening as these people are forced off the land through all these things? The major corporations are buying up that land in massive, massive quantities.
How is this such a conspiracy theory? Is all happening? These folks are going to keep messing with the earth and meet God sooner or later.
The vibrations, the 808. The 808 is known to trap your soul. The 808 is this deep bass, and the vibrational frequency of the 808, it keeps you locked into your root and your sacral chakra. And it's so addictive because it's sexually stimulating to the body. So people be listening to the music and they say it's not necessarily the lyrics, it's the beat. You are sexually stimulated by the beat you listening to, and that's why you put it on replay, because you got to keep hearing it. And you don't realize you're getting a release of oxytocin and dopamine from this, and it's sexually stimulating you. You think you just like the beat because it sounds good. No, it sounds good to your whole entire body. And so yes, music, it can be used as a weapon. They have something called sound weapons. DARPA out of the USA creates something. It's called the energy sound weapon, and they used it over there in Afghanistan, where they would turn on a certain frequency and turn it up as loud as possible. It makes your ear bleed. It gets you very confused. It have you foaming at the mouth, and it can bust your heart. You can Google it right now. It's called a direct energy sound wave weapon, and it sits on top of a truck. And whenever they want to disperse a crowd, because they use the same thing in Ferguson. I'm from St. Louis. I'm from Ferguson. They use that on us in Ferguson during the riots. Man, you would point that mug towards a crowd and turn it up, and it gives you this type of frequency that your ears are not used to hearing. Because remember, we only hear within a certain range and see within a certain range. Once you go outside of that field, it's very, very distortive to the body. You see that? And man, yes, these things will literally, they will kill you through sound.
Yeah. Sound can also heal the body, the mind, and the spirit as well. And DJs have a sound machine called the 808.
Years old, I found myself in the ships with the ETs. My mom was kept on the Edwards Air Force Base. I was in the wilderness and the mountains until 24 and a half years old. During those times, I was shown by the ETs a lot of different things. And I was also having a lot of negative government interactions. I remember finding myself in underground bases, and then the ETs would come and rescue me because the ETs were upset that they were taking the hybrid children. I saw all sorts of genetic testing. I also saw that they had taken ETs and they were keeping them down there, trying to steal the ability to travel different dimensions from these ETs. Spirits, they wanted to have bodies so that they could have these beautiful experiences. So then they got into the 3D physical form. They were creating new genetic creations. They were creating different animals. Neptune, that's actually where the creation of fish comes from. It's from the aquatic beings that live on Neptune. Venus, that's where chocolate comes from. Strawberries comes from. That's where different plants come from. From each planet, they brought a piece of the other planet's creation. That's what creates Earth. Revelations, it talks about the mark of the beast, and it says it will be in their forehead. It does not mean it's a microchip. It literally means that people are functioning from the reptilian cortex of their brain. And the reptilian cortex is the lower beast energies. It's not the energies of ascension. It's activated through fear. All of this is being thrown at us to keep us from ascending out of the reptilian cortex of our brain. And when it says in the Bible, they will be raptured and taken into the clouds, it does not mean that they're actually going to fly up into the clouds. It means that the frequency of those who are doing the self-work will ascend, and they will be above all that chaos, all the disease, all the fear. They will be flying above it. These are all codes. This is all symbolism.
I will define myself as a hybrid. I was given extraterrestrial genetics. I have had abductions, and I will find myself on a craft, and I will see the grays, and I will see them experiment on me. They also communicate to me through an etheric implant that was placed in my head. Government people saved my life and helped me get away from these attacks from the grays.
I saw at the foot of my bed 2 or 3 more reptile-looking beings. The short reptile was talking to me telepathically. It was telepathic. His exact words were, "We need to borrow your consciousness." He said, "We're going to borrow your consciousness, and you're going to be gone for 20 years. Do you want to help us?" I said, "Yes." I woke up. I was not on the earth anymore. I was taken to the moon base. There was a man. He said, "You know, do you remember your mom and dad? Do you have any memories?" I had complete amnesia. He said, "That's because you're a clone." This is absolutely the hardest part to recount because it still hurts.
We can go in and out of our bodies. Once I left my body, I got all the way to one of the moons near Saturn. In Atlantis, they did this. In Egypt, they did this. They moved between the worlds. Humanity needs to learn how their genetics work, how energy works, and how they can light that up. And when they do...
Deception. Jesus is the way, truth, and the life. The Holy Spirit gives you great discernment on what's true or not. This is witchcraft from Lucifer and his legions of demons.
Check this out. Give me some volume on this.
So, you want to explain to me, first thing, what the hell is this? All this land. No ice around any of these areas, okay? There's North America, South America, Africa, India, Russia, China. Okay, so very similar to this map. North America, South America, Africa, India, China, Russia, okay? Only thing different, Australia. There is no Australia here because it hasn't been discovered yet. This is 1587. Australia wasn't discovered until 1606. So that's why that's not there. But my main question is, if this is a globe flattened out and this is on the bottom, right? What is this?
Always they were
really got enough help. And even after the locals and rescue teams helped the whales back into the water, they re-beached themselves further down the coast, almost as if they refused to go deeper into the ocean. Over in the beach in Oregon, a female anglerfish washed up, which is really strange when you consider that they live 2,000 to 3,000 feet deep. And with the huge anomaly that we were initially told was a glitch coming back, people's speculation is starting to grow and theories are starting to circulate. I touched on the first theory that states that very large creatures or a very large creature, possibly Leviathan, has entered our ocean's ecosystems, eating the wildlife and scaring them as well. But there's a second theory stating that some sort of frequency device is being used or tested.
The book of Revelation unfolding, folks.
A German flat earth map from World War II has just been uncovered, and it depicts another ice wall all around Earth with other continents and land masses that are outside of it. And supposedly Germany during this time period went on expeditions. See these black circles? I had to erase that so we didn't have to see their symbol, but this is supposedly where they went out and just claimed this land. Here's New Schwabenland, whatever that is, and they actually have Asgard way over there. And then up here we've got Terra de Vista. I'm not sure what that is, and I don't know what that is either. Is that supposed to be the top of the earth or something? And then over here we have the lost continent of Lemuria, which apparently went underneath the sea and sank somehow, but I guess it's on this map from the 1940s. But a lot of these words we can't even read because it's in German, but this is also a reflection of the moon map, if you've ever seen that.
Finally, a map that shows the African continent that is in reality bigger than Europe.
James' satanic ritual.
No wonder I never liked them. Praise Jesus Christ, God Almighty.
What do reptilians, shapeshifters, and the bells that went missing have in common? The Germans are the ones that took the bells. The Germans were also infatuated with the Vril society, aka the reptilians. The reptilian race are the shapeshifters. Now, shapeshifting is not actually what they do. The way that they shapeshift is they take a frequency and blast it into your visual cortex, so what you are seeing is not a reptilian, so it's not actually shapeshifting, it's just changing your perception of reality. These bells were actually a defense weapon, so we could not be tricked by their frequency trying to trick our visual cortex into believing that they were a skin suit versus a reptile. The frequency from the bells disrupted the frequency or the spell that they were putting under our visual cortex. Rebel, to change the frequency. So of course they got all the bells so that they could hide among us in peace, so that we could not discover the true deception that they were placing upon us. This is the true reason why the Germans took all the bells. Everyone's saying, oh, they took all the bells. Why did they take the bells? This is why, because they are in bed with the reptilian race, and they are allowing them to walk among us rent-free without us even knowing, right under our nose.
Well, can we just recreate the sound of the oil bells? You know, all the tech we have, we can replicate the oil bell sounds.
Look at their rockets. This is how they claim they get into outer space, is these rockets. Their rockets never go straight up. Every single rocket launch from a government space agency, you'll notice, follows a parabolic curve. It goes up, it reaches a peak, but what they do is as the rocket starts coming back down, they make sure that it goes down over the ocean, out of the way of any curious observers. Anyone can see it coming back down to Earth, asks, hey, how come the rocket's not going up anymore? Well, it's going around the curvature of the Earth, is what they tell us. So every single rocket, the reason that it follows a parabolic curve, they say, is because it's going around the curvature of the Earth. The real reason is they can't get up any higher than that.
The only thing that's into space is your imagination.
They tell us that the Earth is a sphere. They show us pictures of a sphere, of a circle. It's a perfect circle. And then they come out and they say, well, it's actually an oblate spheroid. Oh, what's that? Well, it's a sphere that's flattened at both poles, so it's more of an oval shape. It actually bulges out south of the equator, as well as being flattened at the poles. So it's more pear-shaped.
So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator. A little chubbier. A little chubbier. Yeah. Chubby's a good word. It's like pear-shaped.
So now it's pear-shaped. So why are all of these official NASA photos and videos showing perfect spheres when it's actually an oblate spheroid or a pear-shaped?
Tell me why the biggest ancient temple in Southeast Asia has the exact layout of a CPU. This is Prambanan. It is in Java. Prambanan was built in the 9th century and abandoned in the 10th century. The temple's intricately carved head to toe, and you can only see the whole thing if you have a car. Colonizer dudes found it like this in the early 1900s, and it has since been restored into what it is today. I have a bachelor's in computer engineering. That is the hardware side of computers, and this immediately stood out to me as soon as I saw the aerial. All processors have a speed at which they can process data. This is usually in cycles per second, which is often in gigahertz now. So how many ones and zeros can fit in a cycle per second? That's the speed. Hindu architecture reflects many properties of sound waves. Could they be sound waves? I don't know. But this one looks exactly like a sound bubble actually travels through air. Tamil temples have insane resonance and look just like resonators we use in microelectronics. Looking at Borobudur from above almost perfectly reflects the pattern made by roughly 3500 Hz. Angkor Wat shares nearly the same layout as a high-frequency oscillator used in digital timekeeping. Southeast Asia and Egypt share a lot of architectural similarities. Egypt is well studied, and luckily they figured out that the pyramids can focus electromagnetic energy. If you flip those, you get the same design as the stepwells in India. Stepwells follow the pattern so close you could almost make a blueprint out of the cymatic. What about the temple? We're going to look at the Shiva temple that's right in the middle. The main chamber of the temple has golden ratio symmetry. Perspective. The harmonic series shows how waves fit inside waves harmonically. Magnetic field lines also do this. If we take that and put it from the top to the bottom of the temple, the tip follows the curve and there's a harmonic intersection in that top chamber. Middle chamber is empty, so it might have excluded some frequencies like a bandpass filter. The dead center of the harmonic series is right at the top of the main chamber. This is where all the frequencies in one wave meet. Chamber design is also similar to the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid. Processors take in a frequency, organize the instructions into commands, and send it out to other places that process and share the commands to make life easier and change the world. That's you. India has been screaming this for 8,000 years. Read the Vedas, go there. I will be in the comments.
Our planet is a big Intel Core chip. By the way, Java is in Indonesia, and we have Borobudur. It's the biggest one.
CIA in control and infiltrating our media, movies, and music? No, it can't be. Watch this.
How often does the CIA manipulate the media in this way?
It goes beyond your wildest imagination. Setting up student organizations so they could draw radical students in. 5,000 university professors co-opted to help the CIA manipulate people's minds. Journalists in the U.S., including big-name journalists, co-opted to function routinely to help the CIA put out stories and biases to the world.
As this 1952 CIA memo says, the aim is controlling an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will.
It's a great brainwashing process to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interest of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations, I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
So how do we know that Operation Mockingbird still isn't in effect? Well, we don't.
I gotta hear your thoughts on this. Drop your comment. Let me know what you think.
Nice to see people finally connecting the dots.
Happened to all the Anunnaki and Thoth and all them.
They had two wars. The first Pyramid War almost eradicated them, but they started over again. The second Pyramid War, bad. That one almost decimated the planet. You see how when you look at Earth, like from Google Earth, you see a lot of those big deserts going across. People say, oh, that's just natural geological formations over time. This has become an arid desert. No, that's war. If you go to Egypt and stick your hand deep in the sands, eventually you're going to come up with balls of glass. How can you get glass and sand? 3,000 plus degree temperatures. You go to Mohenjo-Daro in the Indus Valley, what are you going to see there? Dead bodies still in the streets from thousands of years ago, still holding hands, never been scavenged. The buildings that they lived in turned to glass. How can that be? We're talking about 3,000 plus degree temperature weapons fire. We're talking about this war that happened in the ancient past. Amun-Ra wanted to continue he started the first war to take over the earth early because he didn't want to wait for his processional period to rule. And then this is the guy who says you must say amen after everything. Say amen. Everything you give thanks for, you're saying amen to him. So when you say amen, you're thanking him, by the way. A brutal killing guy. But anyway, so he says, it's a fact. He started one war to take over early, which he won.
Yeah.
He then started a second war to stay in power. And in that second war, he escaped. He was almost killed. But he left his kingship and the finances of the kingdom to the Ra Khan. And R-A-K-A-M. But that translates into modern words. Khan translates into child. So now you translate Rothschild.
This guy is so full of it. He reaches at every opportunity to make his story seem credible. Rothschild means red shield. The Rothschild are actually descendants of the Orsini family. The Orsini family is far more powerful than the Rothschild family.
Please don't ever read and believe the trash in the history books from the institutions of Rome where they tell you that those martyrs in the 1st and 2nd century were Christians. They were not literalist Christians. They were Gnostic Christians, Neoplatonists, Hermetists, people from Serapis in Alexandria. That was the chief religion around the time when Rome was killing people. These guys. They were Hermetists and people that knew who they were. That's who you are, not what's your name. Any other word, adjective, noun that you want to put after that is misleading and a lie. There is nothing but being and the noun. And they pull you out of that with a thing called nomen. That's the word for name. They give you one of those and they want you to have a Christian name. What's your Christian name? Interesting. It's corporation, that Christian empire of Rome that rules the earth, the pillaging and land grabbing and stealing the Aborigines, not origines. They don't call them origines because that's original. Ab deprives them of originality in Latin. And therefore they tell you the Aborigines. And then Hollywood, there's these cowboys killing the bad Indians. You know, all those cowboys, John Wayne, and we're going to kill us some Indians, you know. That's true. They did it.
If you're seeking the real truth, if you want to understand what you are and where we are, check the link in the profile bio.
This man is extremely dangerous. He slanders God because he denies Jesus and his truth. Jesus is God. Gnosticism says we are the ones who create truth. Jesus wants us to come to him. We cannot be full of ourselves and God.
Magic wand. Merlin the magician with his magic wand. Magic wands were always made of the wood of a holly tree. They're still doing their magic in Hollywood, and we don't even understand what the word means. Holly is important to the Celtic Druids at Christmas time. The magic of Hollywood. It's Druidic, Jewish, Masonic symbolism. And you begin to understand why MGM has the roaring lion. The roaring lion is the sun in the constellation that begins summer. Summer begins in Leo, constellation of Leo, the lion of the tribe of Judah, the Lion King. He is king over the northern hemisphere and over the earth and over Europe, and the first day of summer, which is in the constellation of Leo. They still make movies about it. Consequently, for 3 months, he moves southward until he crosses the equator. And at the time he crosses the equator, he now becomes Scorpio. And Scorpio brings what we call the fall. Fall is the sun which was standing straight, and now he is falling. He's falling so fast it fell across the equator, and now he's going southward all the way down till he dies in Capricorn. Wake up. The entire thing is astrotheology.
Astrotheology is the basis of the pagan and satanic Rosicrucian mystic order. When you mix paganism and lies with some truth, then that becomes deception.
Sun is local. It only sets due to our perspective of its setting. The sun never truly sets. It moves across a flat plane, only setting to the human vision. If it was truly 93 million miles away, how could something so big become so small when setting? It is all an illusion. How is it that the sun can be underneath the clouds when it is meant to be 93 million miles away? It's impossible for the sun and the moon to be out at the same time. The stars have never changed ever since the day of creation. The stars are light which influence our body, mind and consciousness. NASA are using fisheye lenses. When we go up to the same height, we never see the same curvature. They are hiding the true cosmology. They are hiding the divine creation that we are in.
Be honest.
Bro, I live near the beach. I've seen the sun and the moon at the same time all the time. What do you think? Let me hear in the comment.
Fasting is the cure for everything. When your body don't have nothing to eat, it's gonna eat all your bad cells up because it go into fight or flight. And when it eats your bad cells, your body release hydrogen. And you know, we breathe in oxygen.
Sure.
So I be wondering like, damn, I done went all day without eating and drinking, but I'm still pissing. Like, why am I pissing?
Yeah.
We create our own water.
When's the fast? Is it the sun's up to down? Is that?
That's what most people do from sun up to sundown. But I like to do it to where when I break my fast, it's just with liquids. I like that liquid diet.
That's hard. So what's the longest you fast for?
Like no food, just water, liquids.
Yep.
Like 42 days. I did about 3 of them.
42 days?
Yo.
I hate what I'm about to say. I don't even want to say
I don't hate it. We learning. This I ain't gonna lie, this
Nah,
is learning.
You did it longer than
deep.
Jesus.
You go there, bro.
I'm gonna just say this, when you fast, things really, you're not delusional when you fasting. Things really get weird because you're not seeing into, you seeing beyond the physical realm. You seeing into the spiritual realm.
42 days? Why are you still chubby, bro? But not only that, fasting is your window to a spiritual journey of understanding.
It's documented. Your body can survive without eating. I do not suggest that. You know that what I'm saying. I'm saying, are you really hungry? Or is it just a habit? Thanksgiving. Traditionally, you go to 3 or 4 different houses. You smash at every single house. You might drink a couple sodas or a couple beers, some spirits, and you wake up hungry. You think you're really hungry. The longest fast to date is 380 something days. The guy reversed every single disease that he had. He took minerals, he took vitamins, he did what he had to do. He was massively overweight.
Is it really hunger or is it withdrawals from the chemicals in the food we eat now? Sugar is more addictive than cocaine, supposedly. You know, it all changes when you adjust a bad habit to a positive behavior.
In Freemasonry in Europe, the groups were called circles, and you had your circle of friends. There were 5 circles of friends, America being one of them. Italy, France, Germany, England, and America. The 5 circles of friends. In the European Freemasonry, the Olympiads. So that today, the Olympiad organization symbol is 5 circles, the 5 Masonic circles of friends. Of course, the Audi has only 4 circles because America's not included in that project. The torch, of course, the Olympic torch is the torch of Prometheus, the god who stole fire for the service of man. And as we said in New York, in front of Rockefeller Plaza, you'll see the statue of Prometheus. In his hand is a flame, the torch, the fire of revolution. All universities and colleges, we find in their symbols and emblems of universities have torches standing for illumination of the Illuminati. Of course, when you go to college and university or even graduate from high school, you come out with as we said, a black robe, which is black for Saturn, the god of Hebrews, and the square mortarboard. The square mortarboard is, of course, Freemasons use mortarboards for their plaster.
Supposedly, it was Hitler who started the Olympic torch. Saturn isn't the god of the Hebrews. You know, Jordan Maxwell was one of the respected occult conspiracy figures of our time.
With all this credit about the pyramids, if those were built by an advanced civilization, and I'm not saying they weren't built by someone that used other things, but I believe those things came initially from 100, 200,000 years ago, and the shape was more like this. But after people had been removed, or the influences of the individuals that made them like this, they now was like, okay, we're just gonna make them with straight lines. And they limited themselves to that because they opened up the flower of life incorrectly. They invented straight lines where even God can't make a straight line because of his rules, their rules of equanimity.
What do you mean by 200,000 years ago?
There's over 130 something thousand years worth of water damage under the Sphinx itself.
God can't make straight lines? What? You bugging, bro.
This is a cathedral in the south of France, in a place called Narbonne. And this cathedral, like many other cathedrals, was designed by the Knights Templar and sympathizers of the Knights Templar. Now, we know through the confessions of the Knights Templar that they were involved in black magic, and they had idols called Baphomets. And, really the big joke about these cathedrals is that people pay thousands of pounds to come on pilgrimages, say from Germany or Yugoslavia or somewhere. People think they're going to have a wonderful Christian spiritual holiday. Well, that's far from the truth. The truth of the matter is that this is a Kabbalistic temple, and it contains carvings of most of the demons that you find in ancient magical scriptures, such as the Ars Goetia, the Testament of Solomon, the Clavicule of Solomon, and many of the other magical texts that have made their way into Europe from ancient Babylon, ancient Chaldea, which is a province of Babylon, and from Sumeria as well. Well, the truth of the matter is that many people who claim to be cardinals and priests and members of the Catholic Church are actually involved in black magic. And there is such a thing as a black mass. Now, the black mass is exactly the same as the Catholic mass, except everything is reversed. And instead of praising Jesus and God, they praise Satan and Lucifer.
Confession? They were tortured. Alright folks, I'm going to end our video with this coming clip. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and don't forget to like or dislike so I can make better content. Thank you for staying till the end. There's a free gift below if you like. Thank you for watching. Peace. Have a prosperous day and God bless.